Hi, I hope you enjoyed working on the listlets last week. They were a lot of fun. And it sort of was a break between the concentrated efforts we did on the blog and now the one large paper that you're going to be writing in steps. And this week's step is to find a product that you um, find is one of the most influential that has been created since 2000. Okay? Anything before 2000 is not acceptable. 1998, 1999, no, I said after 2000. So check your products carefully. And there's a series of questions there for you to write, put up on the discussion board, and talk about your products and get ideas. Now, this all ties in what I've been doing since the beginning of the semester with the idea of audience. Audience is who you are writing for, and who you are writing for determines the type of writing that you're going to be doing. Now, what have you written so far? Okay, your first drafts of the blog were for whom? They were for me, and they were for your classmates. They were kind of I hate to use the word rough draft because then people think it was just kind of a mess, but your first drafts, the first thing you wanted people to see publicly. When you published those blogs, we had gone through a whole revision process, and your audience became those on the internet who read blogs, who would stumble across your blog. We didn't do anything to boost your blog audience, for people to find it on Google. We didn't do anything like that. The next thing that you wrote was the listlet, mostly for the classmates, and if you choose to put it up on your blog, you don't have to. Those on the internet that read blogs. Okay? Now, this week's assignment, we're just starting out on it, and it's the first thing that you want classmates to see and me to see about your product since 2000. Get it? Since 2000. As we develop this idea of your product that you find interesting, it's going to turn into a formal paper, and it's going to be for an academic audience. Now let me define these audiences. Whoa. I do that all the time with this mouse. Okay. Why do I have you write for the class? Why am I asking you to put things on discussion boards for people to see? Why am I doing that? Well, first of all, to compare your writing to others. You may be sitting there looking at your writing and looking how others write and say, boy, I'm going to have to work harder to learn how to write like that. Or, oh, that person didn't have any spelling or grammar errors, so maybe I better get cracking. Some of you might be looking at what other people do and thinking, phew, I'm okay. I write well. All right. My writing isn't as bad as I thought it was. So that's the first thing, kind of to do that personal assessment. And I know you've all done it, Don't deny that you've done it. Now, the second thing is to learn how others write. Okay? I don't know why I have from in there. I wasn't thinking. But you learn how others write. You see their writing, you see what they do, you see how they create interest, you see how they cite sources, and you learn that stuff by looking at their writing and examining it. The other reason is to give advice. And with this sharing becomes a workbook for writing. Instead of actually having a workbook with exercises, you're learning how others write, you're learning to give advice, you're learning to take advice. And it becomes this workbook because you can see what other people are saying about you. You can write about somebody else's post and see what somebody else wrote for that post and see, oh, my critique is like that critique, or oh, my critique's a little bit different. And you have to determine, is that good or is it bad? Should I revise my critique or should I stand by what I'm doing? You're also writing for me, the big bad wolf, the person that determines your grade. Stop thinking of me that way, please. Please don't think of me as the big bad wolf who will ruin your grade. The first thing I am doing is I am reading your paper so I can give you advice. I have been teaching composition over 30 years. You can guess how old I am probably from that. And I've seen thousands of student papers. And I know where you're supposed to be when you end the course in terms of your writing skills. And so my advice is to get you to writing ultimately for that academic audience. The worst part of my job, and believe me when I say this, is when I have to put a number grade on it, give you points. That's horrible. But if I don't do it, I know for sure you won't do the work. So I have to do it, and it's very hard for me. And that grade does give you a barometer to know where you're at, your writing is. So it does serve that purpose. But it's hard for me to do it because if I know you've been working really hard on something, you've been asking me to see it, you've been getting people's advice, and then you put it up there and it's just not where it's supposed to be, I feel bad saying things like, you still need to do this, because it's hard to take advice. Your writing is from your soul. It is. I don't care what people say that it's from the brain. It's from your soul. What you write comes from you, from a very deep part inside of you. And when you see someone criticize it, it hurts. And that may be why you haven't improved your writing skills, because you don't want to hurt when you get that criticism. What you have to learn to do is that criticism becomes, that criticism becomes something that is called a critique. I am giving advice, giving a critique, giving you what's right and wrong for you to improve, not to make you feel bad. And you have to begin to learn to take criticism that way, because if you don't, you'll never get over it. You'll never become a good writer. We're also writing for the internet. Why? You're thinking, I don't know why she has us putting up a blog and writing for the internet. Because I can almost guarantee no matter what profession you go into, you will be working on the internet in some way, shape, or form. You might be updating a blog for your company. You might be submitting pieces to someone to put up on the blog or to put somewhere. You might be maintaining it. You will also find that if you take other classes here at Delta, there's going to be class-related work on the internet. If you transfer from here to a 4-year college, there'll be class-related work on the internet. Now, the big bugaboo, academic audience. What I have here is a picture of people in the academic world and someone in the academic world presenting a paper that they wrote to enlighten their colleagues about something they've been studying. Or this could be not a group of professors and some other professor doing that. This could be a group of scientists. And the man is presenting his work to the scientists to help them do their work. This is ultimately what instructors expect. They expect you to write for an academic audience. That will be people who teach at Delta, your professors here at Delta, they're going to expect that. And as I said, if you move to a 4-year college, they're going to expect that. So what do we expect? We expect a format. That's why I've been nasty if you don't use MLA format. If you're in the humanities, you'll use MLA format. If you're working in the social sciences, you will use APA. Science has their own. So you have to find out what format they expect it in. That means where your name goes, if they're page numbers or not, the size of the page, what kind of font, that stuff. It's important if you're writing for that academic audience because there are norms, there are standards for that section. No matter what the academic audience, there's going to be a thesis. It might be called something different in another area, but there has to be that main idea. And then you have to prove it. And then you might have the best research in the world. But if you don't have things spelled correctly, capitalized correctly, your commas in place, and you're not using formal language, they're not going to believe you. How you present your work, format, and writing conventions builds credibility. That's why it's important. So, what is freshman comp? You might be thinking, I don't know what freshman comp is. She's doing different exercises and papers than what my other students are doing. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? It's a boot camp. It's a way to do academic writing. Every professor here at Delta approaches it a different way. Okay? I kind of lead into the academic learning. Other people don't. They just hit their students right on the head with it. It just depends on what the professor's philosophy is. And I kind of like to ease you into it, get to know who you are, and get you used to the way I evaluate things. Oh, I guess that's all I had to say. Don't forget that you're writing about a product that has been invented 2000 or after, and also you need to Google it and see what it says to answer the questions. Bye-bye.